November's AILA Interview of the Month, attorney Jim Merklinger shares his experiences helping a detained client in removal proceedings pro bono. Jim, your client was adopted from Brazil at age 11. How did this impact her case?
My client entered the United States before the Children's Citizenship Act was enacted in 2000, which means that she was required by her adopted parents to file paperwork to become a U.S. citizen, which they never did. And because she later was convicted of a felony, she was not eligible for citizenship. And because the law did not have a grandfather clause, she wasn't grandfathered in when the law changed. And so she was stuck in between, which left her really the only option at the point I met her was removal proceedings and voluntary departure. So one thing that I looked at the case from the interpretation of the U.S. law, it really looked as if my client was not eligible for any relief other than being deported back to Brazil. But it found out that under the law of Brazil, through my colleague, that there's a humanitarian act that actually prohibits this type of treatment of their citizens. The Brazilian government views any person from their country, once they're adopted, that they are a citizen of the other country, and they will not allow them to be sent back to their country if they've been mistreated in the situation that my client. Basically, they're saying, you can't take our citizens and break them like a toy and then send them back when you're done with them. And fortunately, I was able to argue that successfully to prevent my client from being deported.
As an attorney who doesn't specialize in immigration, how did you get involved in this case?
I've done a lot of pro bono immigration work all the way from my time in law school. In my office, one of the attorneys is actually from Brazil, and she was very interested in getting more experience working in immigration. She had friends at the Brazilian embassy, and just coincidentally, they brought up the fact that this case had come to them, and they did not have lawyers who could do immigration work. So the attorney in my office asked if I'd help with the case. Ironically, the client doesn't even speak Portuguese. She'd been in the U.S. long enough that she forgot her native language. But the attorney I worked with was very helpful, and it's because that my colleague could speak Portuguese that we actually found a way to help my client.
What advice do you have for other lawyers interested in participating in pro bono removal defense?
Well, the one thing is not to be scared. There are many organizations out there that can help you, can assist you with the training, whether it's through the local bar or through the American Immigration Lawyers Association. There are so many resources, materials. It's a matter of just applying your knowledge. I was always interested in immigration, and over the years, just one case literally led to another and referrals. But it's a matter of just applying what you basically learn early on in law school and being dedicated to helping someone. You don't need to be an expert. I found that the courts themselves actually ask you to tell them if you are pro bono, and that many times I've had judges who have assisted me in kind of guiding me in the right way because they appreciate the fact that you're helping out. The other thing is that the community of lawyers that work in immigration are very helpful to one another. Immigration is also another place where, for someone not experienced in working in the court, is a great opportunity to have a trial setting. At the same time, the rules of evidence, the formality is not as stringent as you might find in other state courts, certainly not federal court. So it's a great opportunity for people to get involved. And again, they just need help.
Thanks, Jim, for joining us.